its final stages. I got better shots. Hang on. Okay, I'm right up by. There we go. This shot some kind of. This really tells the story. Basically, we'll get better shots coming up. Maybe. So we keep going. So you did find these. These are the same family. These three colors. That's the species you would find if you found any at all. And you would find these little tiny patches. Not that they were healthy, but like the pictures I was showing you before. Anyway, this is a picture. The birds would come ashore, but obviously that's not a habitat anymore, including the algae. I've been tangled up in that like an insect in a spider web, just so many times in both oceans. I've never seen something like this, and I've never seen anything like it for the entire coastline of Canada. And I've done it, it was documented up at the nuclear proctologist. These pictures are up there. They're formatted in 7 ways, so no matter what the device you're using, if the nuclear industry hasn't got you cut off, you can go in and peruse the site. It took me months and months to upload everything. I'm just totally burnt out. We done the lecture on the weekend. 18 people. They were all awesome. And we had 40 minutes of straight questions and answers after it, which was even more awesome. But I learned that I could do it, that I had what it takes, and that, of course, your first time doing a public lecture is tough enough that I was hoping nobody was going to show up. I was just going to record it, and then I wouldn't have the jitters. So the jitters were there, but ran through it perfectly, and then 40 minutes of answered everybody's question, made sure everybody was happy with the answers, and done the best I could with what I had. And we blew a fortune, everything we had to pull it off. And to me, it was worth it. Okay, let's keep moving. Let me get back. So what I'm articulating is that all the die-offs are not just whales and birds, as everything else has died off at the same time, like I showed you earlier. So there's nothing left on a couple of algae. And just to remind you, let's keep moving along. So the emaciated bears were not just in Antarctica. Norway reported on it, and other of those countries down around Greenland reported these. People that have been studying them for decades. Whales have been washing up all over the coastlines, and they're all emaciated. I can't remember where that one was to. Ian Sterling, yeah. Yeah, they followed this beer, if I remember correctly. It's this or another one I got there. They followed it, don't quote me, they followed it for 3 weeks. And the beer had the longest dive, underwater diving, and the longest open ocean swimming was like 700 kilometers. And then it died, it starved to death. It had the deepest swim, the longest underwater swim, and the longest open water swim before it finally packed it in. Because normally it would look like that, see? But this is headline, Dina. No, that one. A man's fault. Emaciated. Again, emaciated. Other whales we're finding. Let's keep boogieing through this stuff. We're going to have... Okay, we've done that one. Fish disappearing. Whales are nearly absent. No krill. That's right. No sardines, no herring, no anchovies, no nothing else, right? No squid. Once the krill is gone, once the phytoplankton is gone, it's all gone. There's almost nothing there. It's just a lot of warm, clear water. Right. And I done the entire coastline. More than 80 whales wash ashore in India. And well, I'm not saying that got something to do with Fukushima in particular, but I'm not saying it doesn't. Okay. So 500,000 birds died starved to death. We don't have to worry about this happening, where Indian Point was shut down apparently from bird defecating on the plant. That's their excuse, because that's what they do. They just make it up and you're supposed to believe it. And I don't agree with these people, but for once in their life, they actually... Anyway, I'll play the video.
We reported on the alarming
Indian
Point nuclear power plant in upstate New York. The station provides a quarter of New York City's electricity and has seen one incident or unplanned reactor shut down after another lately. But you won't believe what's caused one of the latest power outages there. RT's Alexei Orshevsky explains.
A few weeks ago, we went to upstate New York, to Indian Point nuclear power station, to investigate yet another incident at the beleaguered facility, 9th in just a year. The Energy Corporation spokesperson assured us that everything was fine, the station was safe, and that there was no threat to public health following that particular leak of radiation into on-site groundwater. She also told us then that the reactor shutdowns are also something which you shouldn't worry about, referring to December 14th last year, when the nuclear reactor switched off for the 13th time since 2012.
The plants are always safely shut down, and they go into what's called a safe shutdown mode. We had the big issue that everybody knows about. There was a transformer failure. The transformer yard is located away from the nuclear side, right? But yet the plant automatically shuts down. When we talk unplanned shutdowns, that doesn't mean it's an incident.
Okay.
And so it's very important for everybody to understand, to make it clear that it's not just as a result of something happening.
Bad happening.
Right, exactly.
Oh, yeah, indeed. I mean, who would dare to describe the actual reason for that shutdown as something bad? On Thursday, the company admitted December's emergency switch-off was caused by bird poop. This incredible revelation is the result of months of investigation prompted by the man who has been advocating for the station's closure for many years, State Governor Andrew Cuomo. The outcome is documented in a several-page report. In a brief statement, Entergy said that damage was caused by a bird streamer. Streamers are long streams of excrement from large birds that are often expelled as a bird takes off from a perch. Looks like this one was more than just an act of random avian defecating, but a genuine bird poop sniper attack. The shot hit the transformer with incredible precision, causing the power outage. No laughing matter it is for the company, though. They are now conducting additional inspections of the lines and are even installing what they call bird guards. Can't wait to see how those would look like. You know...
Okay, so this next one is Dr. Christopher Busby talking about cancer in mussels and the die-off in the Pacific Ocean. Let's play that.
Dr. Busby's with us till about 40 after, then I'm going to cover a bunch of big, important breaking news. But Dr. Busby, continuing, you got cut off by the break. Is that what you're getting at here, is why we're seeing a Pacific-level collapse, the starfish disintegrating, the fish dying, the seals dying? I mean, it's undoubted across the board something big's going on. And if we're similar to those animals and we're eating stuff out of the ocean, what is it going to do to us bioaccumulating?
I put... a picture up on my Facebook site recently, and it's sort of gone viral. But it's a picture that was taken in the 80s of a hot particle with tracks in an edible mussel. And you can see that picture on my Facebook site. Various other people have published it all over the place now. It's truly terrifying because it's, if you like, a photograph of what a hot particle does and how you see it.
Give us your official Facebook name so we can put it on screen.
It's just Chris Busby. It's just Chris Busby.
Fantastic. We'll put it up on screen. Go ahead.
Anyway, yeah. So I mean, I don't know if this is the answer, Alex, but the point is something is happening there. There's no doubt about it. The very important paper, the one that really did it for me, is by K.R. Smith. And various people who are oceanographers, and they were concerned about global warming. And what they've been doing is they've been measuring the amount of dead creatures that reach the seabed. So in other words, you know, they can take a certain period of time and they can measure the mass of dead things that die on the surface of the ocean and then float down and hit the bottom. And what they noticed, and they do this graph of various different parts of the Northeast Pacific, and you can see that after Fukushima, the amount of dead creatures that reached the sea bottom suddenly accelerated up to an enormously high level in all of the places that they were measuring. And they say, oh, there must be some problem with global warming and that it's cutting in and this and that. But it's obviously not global warming because nothing has happened with that sort of trend in global warming. But certainly something has happened with that sort of trend from Fukushima. And I think it must be that the uranium because most of the stuff coming out, although a lot of the radioactivity is not uranium, in terms of actual mass, vast amounts of uranium come out of nuclear sites. And so I think a lot of this stuff's coming out in the form of nanoparticles spreading into the ocean and then being carried by the plankton. It's getting into some of these microorganisms in the ocean and then going up the food chain in that way. And probably it will drift across and end up on the California coast. In which case, what you need to do is to watch out for inhaling the air within about 1 kilometer of the coast. People in coastal communities are going to increase their level of risk from cancer and various other diseases, if that's the case. But the trouble is nobody's measuring it. Nobody's measuring this stuff. And there is no independent global institute or organization that is funded to do this or can do it because there's no money to do it, you know. And of course, you've got all these well-meaning people wandering about with Geiger counters, but that really is no help. We need to know where this stuff is and we need to characterize it properly. And nobody's doing that. That's the problem. But what certainly we can see is the effects of something. We can certainly see the collapse of the Pacific biota, the collapse of the Pacific ecosystem. And that is truly terrifying.
Yeah, that's terrifying. Not as terrifying as smoking cigarettes without 7,000 chemicals is. Dana, you just hate corporations. You just smoke the 7,000 chemicals. Dana, you big bully. Bump it up so I don't have to lean all the way in all the time. Now, the problem with that statement was the reason he said this statement was he drops his turd in the punch bowl. I'm going to play this one.
Now, as far as the Fukushima radiation coming to the United States, this report from LA and from San Diego, talking about a 5-fold excess. I followed this up and had a look at the weather patterns for those areas and looked at the RadNet measurements, which are on the internet, and where you can see these levels of gamma radiation plotted. And in fact, they plot very much on the top of fog banks. So if you look at fog banks, which of course fog banks occur a lot in California, and as the fog floats in, so the radiation levels go up. Now, I think that the radiation levels would go up anyway as the fog comes in because there's more material there to cause gamma radiation from quite natural sources. But I'm not saying that's it. So, I mean, having said all this stuff, I know it sounds a bit waffly, but I mean, I would like to wait and see somebody actually measure the gamma radiation spectrum of whatever it is that's supposed to be coming in and causing the irradiation of America, because it's very hard to imagine how there could be a 5-fold increase in natural background radiation from the sort of material that's coming from Fukushima. It's just too far away. But
right, and so that's an interesting one, right? Let me bring me back in. So this is a model, and so this is Japan right by me. You can see it's still coming out of Japan, still coming out, goes across, hits North America, across North America. So it's not like he doesn't know about that. Kind of get where I'm coming from? There's many models like that, right? And then Fukushima's burning the radiation, but he does it again.
I mean, I had the same problem with somebody in Brazil who was finding enormously high levels of radioactivity in the water, and he was assuming it was coming on the jet stream from Fukushima, which is impossible because it's just too far. And it turned out the thing had a half-life he got some tissues and measured the half-life, put it in a plastic bag and so on, and it turned out to be quite a short half-life. So it was obviously radon. It couldn't have come from Fukushima, and I'm suspecting the same thing in the United States. But of course,
NOAA, when they made their model, that didn't matter, right? There's a model now.